You're probably here because you're finding it a little bit difficult in finding your way about leadership, finding your way on how to manage people well, and finding your way on how to grow your business as an entrepreneur. Any one of these things are the topics that we cover. I'm your host, Sean C., aka Mr. CEO at 22. I am so glad that you took the first step of being here to learn more about leadership, entrepreneurship, and management because the world needs more people like you. We will help you to invest in yourself because that's something that is worth doing. That is something that is worth learning. If you have questions about entrepreneurship, maybe you're having problems at work or you're having some leadership problems or managing other people, boy, I have news for you. We have what we call a masterclass. Most of the courses in the masterclass deal with how you can generate revenue online. It deals with leadership, how to lead in crisis, how to break through the crisis in business, in entrepreneurship, and how you can manage other people better. Now, I always say the best kind of investment is an investment in yourself. And how much money are we charging for this masterclass? Not a lot. And if you invest in one, it's yours to keep. And if it doesn't, I'll refund you. No questions asked, full refund. So why don't you try it out? Head on over to sean.c/masterclass and check out any one of the courses if it fits any one of the questions in your head. And if you have any questions, you can just put it on the comment section and we'll get in touch with you. We want to know who you are and we want to hear from you. Until then, keep leading. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in the live show tonight. Again, we are Leadership Stack Live, and we are every Thursday, 8 p.m. So before I move forward, if you haven't yet, please do subscribe to us on Spotify. That's the link right there. If you haven't yet, and let's go ahead and check out how many episodes have we published this week. There we go. We have July 6, 7, and 8. That's 3 episodes. And we have Minter Dial talking about the right way to align your team with your purpose. We also have him on Life Lessons, Manifesting Your Personal Purpose in Work. Minter has a very interesting story because he's been here to the Philippines all the way from US. And he has a good history here because his grandfather fought in the World War, and he did a documentary about that. Very interesting guy, very interesting talk. We also have JM Delarama starting a logistics business, things to consider. So you might want to check that out if you are looking into logistics this time around of the pandemic. How are you all doing? Hope you are considering getting vaccinated so that you can finally move around in better security, going out to the restaurants or flying around the Philippines, touring our beautiful country. So definitely go check out our episodes on Spotify. We have amazing 200 plus episodes now and almost 3,000 followers. Very happy that you guys are continuously supporting the Leadership Stack podcast on Spotify. I am blown away by 3,000 followers. I never imagined that we would have that much followers when I started the podcast way back with a very candid episode, I'd say. We are also on YouTube, so for those of you who haven't followed yet on YouTube, please do so. We need more subscribers there to hit the 1K mark. We're almost there, almost at the edge. We're around 800 plus, and if you could help us reach 1K, that would be amazing. All right. Today, we have a couple of questions on Discord that was left over last week when I had the AMA with Miss Antoinette Aquino. So we're going to go ahead and answer those questions. Good evening, Patrick. Thanks again for being here. Looking forward to another day of learning. I'm happy to be here and answer your questions as well. So Let's start off from one of the questions that I wasn't able to address last week, and that is from Nino on the advertising side of TikTok, which would be better in terms of pricing and impact. Doing ads on TikTok or reaching out to influencers so they can promote your brand for you. So I think it is a matter of when you reach out to influencers, it's a matter of you wanting to tap into their followers because they're very relevant to you. And when you talk of influencers, these are like little gods or little kings and queens who have a huge fan of following. And in order for you to be able to tap into their followers, to also influence them, you would have to go through their kingdom and pay them for their influence. That's how the influence market works. You have to go through these influencers, strike a deal with them, whether it's content, free stuff, money. It doesn't matter if you need their network, their fans to tune in to what you have to say. You'd have to go through them. And sometimes it's cheaper to go that route than paying ads because when you pay ads, really you have no influence. You are trying to bug people off, right? Because you're advertising is outbound. You go out of your way to get into people's faces, not in the time that they're really looking for you. So it's not apples to apples. When you're using influencers, you're paying them because they can influence their fans, their people, their followers. But when you're running ads, it's not about influence per se, but it's about awareness that you exist, and it's about rubbing off your brand to them in a non-organic, non-personal way. That is what advertising is. I haven't advertised yet on TikTok, but I assume that it's almost the same as advertising Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or other platforms out there, which I have used. So yeah, for advertising, it's usually demographics that they are going to allow you to target. Facebook does that. Instagram does that. YouTube allows you to target demographics, keywords. They're a lot more flexible with their targeting. TikTok, I would say mostly demographics as well, because TikTok is quite known for collecting private information from its users. That's actually one reason why I was hesitant to go on TikTok, because it's owned by a Chinese company, and didn't want them. They had recently. There's a news out with Apple, between Apple and TikTok, and TikTok was seen trying to breach users' private data and collect data without permission, and Apple was able to block that. Good job, Apple. Unfortunately, I'm using Android, so having second thoughts having TikTok on the app, but my team in Leadership Stack has influenced me as well to do TikTok. So there you go. We are on TikTok, and we actually published a TikTok video earlier this afternoon. You might want to go check that out, about how to move forward from a heartbreak. Can't believe I did that, but if you want to check that out, it's only on TikTok. There you go. That's the link, Leadership Stack. And also, I was influenced to get into it by Marvin Guillermo and last week's guest, Tony Aquino. So I'm just trying it out. Let's see if it works. But if it doesn't, we're always going to be on Spotify and YouTube anyway. Next question: what are the best ways to grow organically, especially when your startup is still in the early stages? The best way is to actually generate a lot of word of mouth about your business, about your product, about your service, because that's free, and that is very, very effective, in the sense that when you get referred by someone to another person who might want to get your product or service, that is very powerful referral right there. And I know, because my clients who are loyal to SEO Hacker and what we do, and who have reaped the benefits of our work, have been referring us left and right. And I'm so pleased and happy whenever I am personally tagged in Facebook groups, whenever there are people looking for SEO. Makes me so happy. It's word of mouth, right? You can't beat that. And one of the other things that I use to grow my business organically, SEO Hacker, is to do content marketing. And I was writing, so it was free for me. That was organic free growth for me.
when I was blogging about SEO, everything I was learning, I made sure that people could subscribe and tune in whenever I have news about the SEO industry or new strategies out there about the SEO industry. And we still blog about new strategies and updated strategies. We were able to publish earlier about SEO copywriting. By the way, for those of you who are subscribed to the SEO Hacker newsletter, sorry for the double send. The first send was completely broken, and we were testing things out. And I'm really sorry about that, but we were able to fix it. And now, if you want to go ahead and read the SEO copywriting article, how to do SEO copywriting right, then just go ahead and tune in SEO-hacker.com. You'll be able to find it. So yeah, definitely content marketing. Write the content yourself. If you're a thought leader like myself during the early days of SEO Hacker, that is one big way for us to do it. And word of mouth marketing is generated when you have a word of mouth marketing strategy. And for SEO Hacker, we follow the purple cow principle, which is make your product or service so good, so great, go the extra mile that people can't help but talk about you. That is the strategy I used for SEO Hacker, and it worked mighty well. Next question, would it be advisable to start a couple of businesses at the same time to somehow find your own niche so you can capitalize on it and disregard or stop the outperformed ones? Personally, I would not encourage this because starting a business is very hard. It is very hard. I know that it is downplayed by a lot of people out there, maybe thought leaders as well, but it is very hard. That's what I can tell you. And this is why a lot of people, especially new people who are trying to start their business, they fail. 9 out of 10 businesses fail. That's a 90% failure chance. And the reason behind that is one business can kill you. I mean, it can wipe out your capital, wipe out your emergency funds, everything. Starting two businesses, that can be devastating. So I don't really recommend starting two businesses at the same time. If you want to find out if a business works or not, use the lean startup method. I cannot recommend it enough. It's a book by Eric Rice, Ries. I read it. I used it for Queries, which is my second company. And by the time that I started Queries, maybe you're wondering, well, Sean, you started 5 businesses and you're doing okay. Before I started any one of those businesses, after SEO Hacker, I made sure that SEO Hacker was in a level where it's stable. I'm not saying it's super secure or it's super stable, but it was stable. Stable enough for me to start another business. And all of my other businesses are actually vertically relevant to what SEO Hacker is doing. Even the Aquascape business. Because the Aquascape business, the entire front of the business is the website. I don't have a brick and mortar store. So it's vertically relevant to SEO Hacker, and it's just a hobby business. Everything I'm making there, I grow from my aquariums, which really doesn't cost me a lot of money. There's, of course, the water change, the lighting, the pump. So there's a little bit of electricity and water involved to grow the aquatic plants that I am selling online. But other than that, doesn't cost me a lot to grow them and cut them and sell them. So it's a hobby business, doesn't make a huge load of money, but I'm an aquarist. I have 2 aquariums right behind me, and I love the hobby. So that's why I started the business. But I only started it because I could make it. I knew I had a really, really good shot in making it make money. I knew it from the beginning because I was looking for websites that actually rank really well in selling aquatic plants and livestock, and there was nothing. So when I started aquascape.ph, immediately we were ranking number 1 for the keywords of the plants and livestock, and we're still number 1 right now because SEO Hacker, that's my business. We're ranking number 1 for our keywords, and we got number 1 for Aquascape as well, and it's generating money. Every month we're selling a good 5-digit worth of plants and livestock, which is unbelievable. But I didn't start the businesses at the same time because one business can kill you. It could wipe out your capital. That's the truth. And one business is hard enough, especially if it's your first business. It's hard enough. Starting two at the same time, that is that's just crazy. I think that your chances of winning, making a successful business is going to be way slimmer if you're starting two at the same time. Hope that helps. In business, which matters more, product or system? I'd say it's always product. It's always a product. What are you going to do with the system if you're not making any sales, right? So it's all sales is very important. I would argue it's the most important thing. There was one person who asked me before, Sean, what's the most important thing for a business owner or for a business? And the answer is super simple. I didn't even bat an eyelid. I said it's customers. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. If you don't have sales, you don't have revenue. If you don't have revenue, what are you gonna use to buy more stocks or to pay your people? Nothing. So it's always going to be product or the service itself. Service, we could consider that as the product as well. The system becomes important because you're scaling up. It means you're experiencing big growth or good growth, or you're in critical mass and the business is growing exponentially faster than you're able to adapt. Now the system is important during that stage, but it's only during that stage, because when you're a startup, system doesn't really matter a lot. What matters is you have a really great product, you have a really great service, you're able to serve your customers well, you can build your brand, you're making money. That is the most important thing when you're a startup. So I'd say in all stages of the company, product is very important, but the system is only important when you're scaling up. Speaking of scaling up, I wrote the book 50x Your Business. You might want to pick that up. It's on Amazon right now. And our systems are all there: hiring processes, culture, everything. I wrote it down. If you want a cheat sheet on how to build your system, get that book, 50x Your Business. It is out already. Are you familiar with the BI triangle? I'm not. I'm so sorry. So I would have to skip this, or maybe I am. Let me just take a quick peek. Maybe I am, but I am not 100% sure. Taking an idea, creating an asset represents the knowledge required B side of cash flow. Huh. BI triangle. Okay. I'm still on Google search results page. So I'm going to click on one result right now. Hopefully that gives me good insight on it. Is there a chart? I'm looking for a chart right now because this is a triangle. It should have a chart, right? There you go. Team leadership mission. All right. Team leadership mission. Huh. Cash flow, communication systems, legal product. Looks pretty solid to me. Yeah, it looks pretty solid to me. I think this kind of framework makes a lot of sense. And the entire triangle should be pointing to the vision, right? I think that's what should happen. So the team is very important because if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go long, go together, right? That's an old Kenyan saying about how to survive in the wilderness. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So team is very important. How you can keep the team together going in one direction, that's leadership. And leadership is critical if you want to grow a company long term. You want to play the long game. Leadership is extremely important. Even when you're going to get investors, they're going to be looking at your leadership team. The mission is important in the sense that you're going to keep coming back to it. Whenever there's critical decisions to be made, whenever there's big problems that you have to solve as the leader, as a founder, then you go back to the mission. Whenever someone is acting up, not really performing well, then you go back to the mission and you tell them, hey, here's the mission. How much are you contributing to it? Are you being part of the problem or are you being part of the solution? Right. So I'm not extremely familiar with this, but looks like a pretty solid framework to me. From America, is it better to rank on Google organically or through ads? I'd say always organically, because here's the thing that I ask people: do you click on Google ads? I mean, 2000 It's 2021. Do you click on Google Ads? We have a lot of millennials. I'd argue the purchasers today are millennials for most companies. Procurement people are mostly millennials today for most companies. And I could bet that they don't click on Google Ads results. And if they do, it's probably only 20% of the time. 80% of the time, they're probably clicking on Google organic search results. So, with that kind of statistic, I'd say it's always better to rank organically. Now, maybe you're wondering, well, Sean, you're running ads on Google as well. Yes, I am. Why am I running them? Here's the answer. On the first page of Google, you only get 10 spots. Even if SEO Hacker is already ranking at the top, it still helps if you have another spot on the ads list. And there's usually 4 ads, right, at the top most. If I have one spot there and I'm ranking number 1 organically, that's 2 listings on the first page of Google, which is very, very good for a company like mine, which is we try to stand out and we try to be consistent with our branding in SEO Hacker. That is what we do. So it's really good to use both, but if you're going to have to choose one, I'd always say it's going to be the organic search results. What are your tips to find the best keywords for your business? Dig deep in your mind. That's the best way to do it, because as the founder or as the entrepreneur, what keywords people are using in their heads to look for you. That's the best way to go about it. And then you have to cross-check that with the data. You could use SEMrush for this. I use SEMrush. They're an affiliate partner of ours. And SEMrush would tell you how much search volume a certain keyword gets every month in a certain country. And that helps a lot. So you cross-check that with keyword volume per month, per country, or per search engine. And there you go. You got your keyword data. Now it's up to you to decide which keyword in specific you're going to want to use to start your SEO campaign. How can I increase my sales through organic search? The beauty of this, when you're running SEO and you're ranking top, people just come to your site. And the people who come to your site, they're searching already. They want what you got. They want your product. They want your service. So you don't really need to sell to them. They're going to buy. And that's just going to increase your sales by a lot. I have a client right now, and they started with me 2018. This is a B2B client, a business-to-business client. And they were selling somewhere in the 30 million per year, which is great, right? That's really, really good company. 2 years after, so 2020, they're selling like 150 something million. That's the growth that SEO has done for them, because 2018 they weren't doing SEO. We started 2019, 2020, so that's a times 5, almost times 5 increase in their gross revenue. That's the kind of sales that SEO can bring you, because people will just come into your site and buy. And this client of mine, they're very happy. They have referred us to a lot of new clients. I'm very happy to partner with them. And they're just a blessing, I'd say. They're a blessing. So yeah, that's the magic of SEO. As a new business owner, should I focus on my website or my social media? It depends on your budget. It depends on your budget, and it depends on your target market. So I mentioned earlier the B2B client that I have, they're not going to do a lot of social media, because people who buy their stuff are big manufacturers. It's not the average Joe. And one purchase could be millions of pesos. So social media is not going to work that great for them. Definitely go website. And they invested in their website. We built it for them, everything, and it worked really well for them. But if you're, for example, a restaurant, I wouldn't say that a website would be your go-to. Maybe social media would be better for you, because when people see food in their news feed, sometimes makes them hungry, stirs their appetite, maybe they'll buy there. So it would depend on the kind of business you have, plus what stage of business you're in. Are you a startup? If you don't have a budget for a website and SEO, then definitely go social media. So, but if you could afford a website, definitely go for a website, because if Facebook someday would just decide to turn off your Facebook page, that's going to hurt a lot. And it has happened for a couple of my clients where they would post something. The pandemic is very strict. When you post something about the pandemic, about COVID, or about PPEs, Facebook can just slap your wrist and take you out, and or ban or suspend your account for a while. So that is a concern. That's why I would always say you should always have a website. How can I make my product page more inviting? Make sure you have really good photos. That's what I'd say. If you don't have a good design, don't have good photos on your product page, then people will be turned off and head out of your website. So that the photos you take, the videos you take are very, very important. That's content. People want to see what you have to offer in a very good light. I mean, whenever you go to a certain store that you love, you check out the ambience. They really focus their lighting on their products or their service. Usually restaurants who have certain lighting ambiances that focus on the tables and chairs that the customers would sit in, those are really good restaurants. They really care about the ambience, how you feel about their service, about the place, about the product. A website is kind of like that. It's a place. It's a place that people go to. And if the ambience is not that great, they're going to feel like they're not that welcome there. And how you make the ambience better is through web design. Really good, really intuitive web design, easy to use, and really good photos and videos in the website. If you don't invest in really good photos and videos, your ambience is not that great. People feel like they're not really that welcome there. You don't take care of your website. How can you take care of them? So that is the reason why as SEO Hacker, we are critical about these things, where we make sure that the web design of our clients is super nice, super easy to use. And it's not just about the rankings for us, it's the overall experience of what our clients, potential visitors, would say and think and feel. So we go the extra mile that way, thinking about the entire journey of the users, of the clients who partner with us. So yeah, definitely that's how we do it. That's how I think you should do it as well. Hope that helps. How can I make more enticing copy on my social media accounts? So social media, a lot of people forget social media is not about selling stuff. Social media is about connections. That's it. At the get-go, and I was there when Facebook was starting. I was one of the people who hopped in. I was one of the people who ran ads for the very first time when Sheryl Sandberg finally released the ability to run ads on Facebook. I was there when it was full of Facebook games. I was there. So I've seen the growth of social media, and it didn't grow because it was a great place to sell stuff. Social media grew because it's a great way to connect with people. How you share your ideas, how you share memories, how you are able to consume other people's memories and ideas and thoughts. It's about connections. So copies on social media that are meant for you to connect with other people, those are the copies that would do really well. So when you say enticing copy, it's not copy that should sell. It's copy that should connect to your target users. That is pretty much the only way you can do it to make it enticing, quote unquote. Any advice when writing metadata? Metadata is all about being found in the search results, and your listing would have the metadata, the title tag, the meta description, and that's it. My advice when writing metadata is making sure that you get clicked. That's it. Making sure you get clicked, which means that your metadata spoke to the target user. Made sure that when I say spoke to the target user, it spoke their language. It was saying what they wanted to hear. It was saying what they wanted to find. When you're not saying things that people want to find, they will not look at you. They will not click at you. They will not listen. When your metadata speaks what they want to hear, then they'll click on your search engine listing. Then that's metadata that is well written, that is good, and that is recommended. How can link building help my website? Well, link building it's an integral part of SEO. You have to build links, or you can earn links from other websites because you're doing something spectacular, something different, or you're a thought leader, you're an authority in that field. And link building helps you by ranking better that way. It is like a vote of recommendation from another website to your website, much like how I would recommend a good dentist to you if you're having a toothache. And I do have a dental client in SEO, and I'd refer you to them, right? Not it might not be because you know who my dentist is, but I referred them to you because I know who they are and you trust me. That's the power of referral. That's also the power of links online. So links help a lot. Hi, Vian. Good evening. Thanks again for tuning in from YouTube. Really appreciate you being here and hope that the show has brought value to you thus far. We are 31 minutes in and I am loving the questions. Daming tanong. If you guys have questions, pwede nyo pang ipahabol. Just go ahead and ask them in the Discord channel, which is the scrolling text right there down there from dashan.c/Discord. We have the Ask Anything Questions broadcast channel there where you can post your questions and I'll get to answering them tonight. All right, next question. What would you say are the most important factors to making a successful website? Most important factors would be, first thing that I look at, because I'm an SEO guy, would be is the code SEO friendly? If the code is not SEO friendly, you're building it wrong. And it's much like how an architect and engineer would build your house, where if the materials used, the cement is cheap, the wood is cheap, the steel is too thin for the support, the paint is cheap, so it chips off easy when rain and heat comes. It's like that when you're building a website. You have to make sure that the coding is done right and done well. If it's not, you're going to have a website that's flimsy and it's not going to rank and not going to be able to compete well on the search rankings. And search rankings is very, very important. Majority of your traffic should come from search traffic because those are people already looking for your product and service. So I'd say one of the most important factors would be the code. Second would be the site speed, which is also, code has a lot to do with site speed as well. Did you code it right? Are you using a CDN? Are you using caching, gzip? All of these things that increase the site speed is very important. A lot of it has to do with code server or serving the content from specific points or areas in the world or servers in the world. There's just so many. There's so many. Site security is also very important, making sure your website is secure. You don't have malware inside. You have SSL or HTTPS. Oh my gosh. UI, UX. There's so many things that are very, very important factors to making a successful website. And I could go on and explain it here and be technical about it, but I would rather not. You could do your homework. There's over 200 publicly known factors for ranking in Google. Following those things would make for a really good website already. So I hope that helps. Again, that's 200 publicly known ranking factors by Google. You could go look for it online and you'll find it. So study that. Definitely that's going to make for a fantastic website. From Vian, how do I go all in with what I've started? When you go all in, that means you're sure. You're doubling down on what you have. That means, for example, with me, that's when I resigned from HP and finally just went full-time doing SEO hacker. Because I was so sure that SEO was going to be big because I was an avid user of Google before. I keep searching. I'm a very curious guy. How I learn stuff is by searching for it in Google and learning it on my own. That's how I learned SEO on my own. That's how I experimented on the ranking factors. That's how I put up my first blog. That's how I learned to do certain kinds of coding. That's how I learned to edit some plugins and so on. And curiosity. Google serves curiosity. Google serves desire. How can it go wrong? How can it not grow. So I doubled down on SEO because I saw how powerful Google is. In fact, today there are people asking Google, where can I find God? How do I get a love life? Stuff that you usually ask your parents or a close friend, you know. So, given that thought, which is not that, when you think about it, it's pretty sad that people are asking Google that. But that shows you how powerful Google is. And that showed me how powerful SEO can be. And so during 2009, 2010, no one knew what SEO was, but I was doubling down on it. I quit my job, which was my only job. And I was very fortunate to have that job because I failed 28 units in college. I didn't know why they hired me, but they did. They took a risk with me and I quit. You know how bad that feels. But I doubled down on SEO and I knew this is the way to go. And looking back, it's now 2021. That was like over 10 years ago. I would say it's one of the best things I've ever decided on and I've ever doubled down on. And building the brand SEO Hacker up to this point, this I believe is the time for me to finally see how the seeds I planted is growing. Because now I could see how many people are just saying SEO. If you need SEO Hacker, and I don't even know some of these people, but they keep referring SEO Hacker to people who are looking for SEO, which is great, and I love them, and I'm gonna be forever grateful to these people referring SEO Hacker to all of these clients that also I don't know. But that's the power of word of mouth. That's the power of doubling down on what you believe in. That's the power of branding. Invest in good branding. Make sure you do business ethically with integrity. You take care of your clients. Go extra mile for them. They'll love you. They will share who you are to the rest of the world who need your stuff as well. Who do you follow on Twitter, email, newsletters for SEO updates? Search Engine Land, SEO Roundtable, Barry Schwartz, Rand Fishkin's ideas sometimes are still really good, but right now he's just knee deep in Spark.io, which is a social media tool now that he's founded. I also followed, oh man, I have a lot of people I follow on Twitter. Definitely SEO by the Sea. You could also follow, that's for Google patents. SEO by the Sea might get a little bit technical there, but SEO is technical. Google is technical. So if you want to learn their patents, how they're applying for patents that protect their technology, it's SEO by the Sea. You also have, oh man, there's a lot. There's a huge number of stuff you can follow. Definitely Google's blog. You could check that out once in a while. That's also important. So those are some. Cyrus Shepard as well. Dr. Peters, good to follow as well. There's so many. There's just so many. Yeah, I could go on and on. I've read, followed, and heeded the advice of a lot of people on social media and blogs, and I hope that helps. What do SEO agencies exactly do? I've mentioned this time and again, and I believe I coined the elevator pitch of SEO is basically manipulating search results. I know that a lot of SEO people copy that now, but I believe I was the first one to say that SEO is basically just manipulating search results. That's it. So SEO agencies, what we do is we manipulate search results for companies out there. What is your SEO process on a daily or weekly basis? To give you a big picture perspective, we're doing a SEO from an ethical, purely ethical, content-based standpoint. Now, other SEO agencies and companies out there, they do things very differently. But we want to play it ethical because integrity is one of our core values, permission to play core values. So going all ethical, which is AKA white hat SEO in the industry, that is the way we're doing SEO. I couldn't say the same for a lot of other companies out there, but that's how we do it. So when you're content based, that means you produce a lot of, when you're ethical, when you're doing white hat SEO, which is purely ethical SEO, there's a lot of content that you need to push out. You're going to be content centric for the most part. So you have to have really good content that you're pushing out there. Most of these are written content for our clients. We also make sure that we are able to earn links from other sources by publishing content that is really useful in their industry, that other companies or other influencers, other websites in their industry can't help but use our stuff as resource, and they link back to us. So we do that. We do those two things on a daily basis, and then we also check and audit the technicals of the site. Is it loading well? Our page is still really getting good traffic? Do we have metadata intact? Do we have schema intact? Are the search results doing well? How's our reviews on Google? We look at so many things, so many factors that usually would make someone's head spin, to be honest. And that's why we have a 50-man team. There's a lot of people involved in managing our clients. And we don't have like 100 or 200 clients. We only have 60 plus clients. So it's almost a 1:1 ratio for people in our team versus the clients we handle. That's because we care a lot about our clients. We care a lot about them. We'll make sure they're served really well. We'll make sure the process that we use is really effective, powerful, would really catapult them to the first page so that they get their ROI within the first year. They make a lot of money from what we do, because if they don't make money, then why would they keep me? There's no reason for them to keep SEO Hacker as well. Hope that helps. I'm terrible at writing content. How critical is word count, or should I focus on site optimization instead? Well, word count, I'd say, is a great article that people would read should have enough content inside. I wouldn't say word count is the foremost necessity when you're writing and publishing content, but it is an after effect of a really good piece of content. Because if you're writing content just for the heck of writing content, just for the heck of trying to rank, it's not going to work really well. But if you put your heart and soul into it, I'd say you'd reach somewhere 800 words. I'm a writer myself. I publish blogs, and I find that if I write blogs that matter to me and a lot of people who read my stuff, it's usually 800 words to 2,000 words. And yes, in one sitting, I could write up to 2,000 words. And that's the pieces of content that I find rank well as well. Hope that helps. What are your thoughts on Axie Infinity? I haven't tried it, but if it earns Ethereum as a game, that is pretty darn good game. I mean, rather than playing games where you spend money in, then play a game where you can earn money from. And I hear that it pays out with Ethereum coins, which is fantastic. So I think it's when my kid starts playing games, I'm probably gonna make them play Axie Infinity, and then someday that's gonna be their wedding money. So I think it's great. I haven't tried it personally, but the concept I think is really, really good. When will you get funding, like taking SEO Hacker in the next level? I've been getting a lot of those questions recently, strangely enough. This is the 4th time that I've gotten it in a 45-day span. Seems like a lot of people are interested in investing in SEO Hacker. I think that, if I could keep it 100% owned by me, like what it is now, I would go for that. It's hard for an entrepreneur to always have someone telling him or her what to do. And I'm the type of entrepreneur where I like being on the helm. So it is hard for me to tell you when I will get funding. Because honestly, right now, SEO Hacker does not need funding. We don't need funding. we need to invest as well. That's what we need. Because when you're in the services industry, you usually cannot just buy more stock and sell it for a higher price, like when you're in the merchandising industry. The merchandising or trading industry, like the retail industry, they buy stuff, they sell it in the malls or online, whatever. And what they use with the money when they sell stuff, what they do with that money is they buy more of those stuffs that they think they can sell. So the money just circulates. The difference between that and a service company like SEO Hacker is we don't have stocks to buy. So the money does not circulate in that way with SEO Hacker. So the as the CEO and founder, we have this stockpile of cash, and we do need to invest it somewhere, because just leaving it in the bank is not the wisest thing to do. It is not the best thing for me as the CEO and founder to do. So if I do need to get funding, it would be for a huge reason. It should be for a huge reason, because SEO Hacker right now, yeah, it should be for a very big reason. I don't think we need funding, um, and I don't believe that we would need funding for the next years, unless we want to buy out a competitor who is also selling. A really good competitor who's selling, I might get investors just to buy competitors. That's it. Otherwise, I don't think we're gonna really need or get funding. Hope that helps. Taking SEO Hacker to the next level, always. The answer there is always. We're always taking it to the next level. So during this pandemic, where we have a slew of inquiries and a slew of customers coming in, clients coming in, we are able to already see the trajectory on where we should go. And we are leveling it up. We're actually professionalizing the entire company, and we are hiring executive level people already right now. So that is hopefully going to double or allow us to double or triple our revenues when we professionalize in the next 3 years. My target as the CEO and founder and the main salesperson of the company is to grow 100% each year. So far, doing great. Um, can I take it to 100%? I don't know. That's the next question. But 100% every year is great for me, and that has been my target ever since I started the company. So we have grown more than that when we were at the very beginning. When you're at the beginning, it's possible to grow 300, 1,000%. But when you scale to a 50-man team, it's already hard hitting 100% sometimes, especially when you're in the SEO industry, not in the tech industry. So hope that helps. Vian, thank you for sharing. You're very welcome. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you guys tuned in. Hopefully this provides value for you, and please do help by sharing it with other people. And tonight I do have something to share. So we have the webinar, leadme.ph/grow balance. That's going to take you to our webinar this August, where we are going to help you achieve and unlock your potential so that you can live a successful life. Grow and balance your life is all about helping you learn how you can grow yourself and how you can balance things in your life right now, because we're spinning out of balance. The pandemic, it's the first time you experience it. It's the first time I've experienced it, and it has tilted my life in ways that I'm not really that happy about during the lockdowns, because I was working like a horse and balance in my life just went out the window. So in this webinar, that's going to be what we're tackling. It's a 2-hour webinar. Is there an investment? Yes, because I believe the best investment is an investment in yourself, and it is worth spending money on. For the 2-hour webinar, the investment rate is 950 pesos. That's the early bird rate. The regular rate is 1,150. Check that out. And if you want to grow and to balance your life, please do sign up as early as now, so we can see how and project how many slots we would have to open for people. We are also doing a giveaway, 2 of my books. Just enter the link leadme.ph/giveaway to join. That's CEO at 22, which is the book right there. But we are giving away the ebook version of that. And we are giving away 50x your business as well. So if you're someone who wants to scale up your business, 50x your business is one of the best books you can get and pick up. And we're giving that away for free. The mechanics are all there, very easy to join. We made it super easy for you. If you haven't yet, we have our YouTube channel. Check that out. If you want to review this episode, this AMA episode again sometime in the future, it's going to be published there, I think 3 months from now. We are also on TikTok. The latest video is there. How do you move on from heartbreak? I know it's not really about leadership, but guys, that is something that I used to blog a lot about, and people might still want to hear about that. So I did publish it on TikTok, and it's only on TikTok. We didn't publish that anywhere else. So if you want to check that out, please subscribe, follow us on TikTok as well. That will be the last question that I have. And I hope that this has brought value to you guys. We're ending a little bit earlier tonight, 10 minutes early. Again, we are always on 8 p.m. Thursday nights. So the next Leadership Stack Live is going to be next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. And if you want more of this, and if you want to hear from my guests from all over the world, last time was Minter Dial from Europe, please tune in to Spotify, the Leadership Stack podcast on Spotify. There you go, leadme.ph/Spotify. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. I hope to see you next week. And until then, keep